Welcome back to Cocktails and Classics. This week we did What We Do in the Shadows, 2014 New Zealand horror comedy. I'm Dylan, and joining me, as always, is Ben, Zach, and Cam. To kick things off and get everybody in the right mood, we're going to go to this week's cocktail. Ironic one. Ooh, we have humor. A tequila sunrise. Because they're vampires. Yeah. All right, thanks. We'll be here all week. Or at least for the hour of this day that we dropped this episode. But the tequila sunrise evokes a summer sunrise in the glass with the awesome color. It was created in 1970 by Bobby Lozoff and Billy Rice at the Trident Bar in Sausalito, California. It achieved notoriety after Mick Jagger tasted it at a party to kick off the Rolling Stones' 1972 tour. The band began ordering it at stops across the country and even dubbed the tour the Cocaine and Tequila Sunrise Tour, which helped propel the drink's popularity. And then in 1973, Jose Cuervo started putting it on the back of their bottles. And in the same year, the Eagles released their song Tequila Sunrise on the Desperado album. It's another one of our easy cocktails. We were talking about simple to make. This one's 3 ingredients this time. It's 2 ounces of Blanco tequila, 4 ounces of orange juice, and then, I put a half ounce in there, a 1/4 ounce of grenadine, floated on a bar spoon so it'll sink to the bottom and give you that gradient, orange to red color. Mine's going to be super sweet now. That's going to be fun.
Man, it's already
gotta get some diabetes.
Can't get much sweeter, you know.
For those of you who are not watching, which is everyone except
So if you're not watching
3
the
of us,
podcast, well, one more. There's one more who watches.
Dylan took a drink, and the look on his face, if I could try to find the vocabulary to describe it,
Looked like he sucked on
it was
Willy
stank
Wonka's
face.
dick.
Straight up stank face.
Disgusted is too harsh. Yeah, it looked like he ordered an expensive steak at a restaurant and just hated it and regretted not ordering the chicken.
It looks like Dylan ordered an expensive steak at a restaurant and then ate it.
Looks like Dylan ordered at a restaurant.
Yeah, okay, so I another Randall on my part.
How did you Randall this?
Randall?
There's three
There's
things.
3 things.
There's three ingredients.
So the only tequila I have in the house, I infused with some jalapenos a while ago.
Oh, God.
Oh, so
for
it's
fuck's
spicy.
sake.
Gross.
It's also an añejo.
I mean, I used it in
And then I also did a whole half ounce of grenadine versus a 1/4 of an ounce.
I don't
the
think that
jalapeno
too
probably
sweet,
tastes
too
like shit.
spicy.
Not gonna lie.
I feel like the jalapeno's what's fucking you right now, and it's
Yeah.
not the grenadine, bud.
Yeah, I think
don't-
the
I don't
spice in
know.
it would be bad.
Maybe I let
It's
it
not a
sit for
spicy
second
drink
too
at
long.
all. Like, it's orange juice.
No, I don't
You
think
know?
you let it sit. I think you put fucking jalapeno in it.
I think you strain the jalapeno out. Maybe you'll have a good cocktail.
No, there's literally not. You don't.
I'm kidding. I know. It was a joke, Dylan.
Like
Come
coffee
on.
filter it, Dylan.
I'm not an idiot. Obviously, I know it. There's not literally
know.
jalapenos in your tequila right now.
I like the fact that Dylan 100% thought you were serious. that there were chunks of jalapeno in his
I feel like that
drink.
episode of The Office where Michael gives Oscar
Yeah.
the like drawing or whatever, and
No,
he's
it's like
or
the
is it
weird
a
fucking
sculpture?
puppet. It's
And
a
he's like, I
fucking,
made this
hand
for you,
puppet.
and he was like, thanks. He's like,
He thought it was.
he thought I
real.
made that for real. He has such a low opinion of me.
I mean, my opinion of you was already low.
Ooh.
You can check the show notes below. Make yourself a tequila sunrise. Maybe it'll be your first time having one like it was for me. Hit the drizzling caster links. Get you some grenadine and tequila. And you can check out What We Do in the Shadows on Canopy right now.
Or hoopla.
Or Hoopla, if you have a library card, which you should. They're free.
Yeah, like our library, I don't think allows Canopy, but it does support Hoopla. So it kind of depends on what your library does. But like I said, mine did one, but not the other, so it could work.
What We Do in the Shadows is a 2014 horror film. It's a mockumentary comedy about a group of vampires, Viago, Deacon, and Vladislav, who are vampires living in modern times in Wellington, New Zealand. And it's just their struggles of a mundane life, trying to go clubbing, doing chores, accidentally getting new roommates, or I guess just partners in their group. It's directed and written by Jermaine Clement and Taika Waititi. It stars Jermaine Clement, Taika Waititi, Corey Gonzalez McCure, Johnny Bruh, Stu Rutherford, Jackie Van Beek. I don't know anyone else. I know, what is his name? Rice Darby, I think is how you pronounce it. He's in one of the werewolves. He's like the main one, the alpha male.
I don't know. Okay.
If you watch X-Files,
okay.
He's in one of the more modern seasons of the X-Files. He's in Flight of the Conchords.
Oh, okay.
With Jermaine. He's like their band manager, but he also works at the New Zealand consulate in Flight of the Conchords. It currently sits at a 7.7 out of 10 on IMDb. It has been made into a TV show. Am I the only one who's seen this movie before?
I think so.
Yeah, I'm gonna say yeah.
Well, what did everyone else think of this movie?
Yeah, so for me, I have been watching the TV show. So I've been watching that, which is newer and has a different showrunner. I don't think they run the show at all. I don't know if they have any hand in like writing it or anything like that. But I thought it was all right in general. I do feel kind of spoiled whenever we watch older stuff that has like newer adaptations, especially if it's like a direct thing. Because my first thought after when I was watching the movie, I was like, I like the TV show a lot better. I don't know if it was just me, because I know Zach has seen some of the TV show, I think, right?
Yep.
But personally, I was like, I don't know. I mean, this is fine, but I think the TV show has done a lot more better, funnier things. I mean, it also could just be the disconnect between like New Zealand and US like comedy, but yeah, I thought there were bits that were funny. It definitely was very dry humor, which I think the show is too, but even more so than that, in my opinion.
Someone who does not watch the TV show, I really enjoyed this. I had no idea what I was expecting outside of the little quick blurb that was about basically it's about 3 vampires who live together in a flat, and I was like, okay. So I had no idea what to expect. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was one of those where like I wouldn't say I was ever just completely laughing out loud, but it was a movie that I enjoyed and I thought was funny, just constantly kind of kept me entertained. I will say I did love the Taika Waititi's character laying down the newspapers in the towels
In front of the couch.
and then she's just like sitting there like, okay, whatever. And then
She's into it.
As soon as he bites her, it just starts bringing out, and he's like, oh no, I hit a vein. Oh no. that was
Tries to like catch it in his
that
mouth.
was just one of my
everywhere.
favorite things, and I don't know, that was just such a good bit. The fact that he's like, guys, come on, you mean the red couch? Yeah, it's red now. put down some towels and some newspaper.
Yeah. One of the things that I think this and the TV show, they both do really well is like a lot of the things that they do on these in this movie are they're just like stuff you'd see in like normal sitcoms, but they're vampires, you know, like they're arguing in the like kitchen about like chores or whatever, and then they both like start hissing at each other and like fly up at each other like to like, you know, it's just funny because it's a lot of these things are like normal human circumstances, but they have like a vampire twist on them, I guess.
Also, just the little added extra bit of humor that everything instead of is like, look, it's been your turn to do dishes for like the last like 2 weeks and you haven't done dishes, it's like, you see where the chore wheel is? It hasn't moved in 5 years.
Yeah, this movie's a chortle fest. If you're familiar with the term chortle, that quick exhale out of your nose, was doing that constantly throughout the movie.
I'm a huge fan of Taika and Jermaine, and a lot of the like New Zealand comedians that are part of this movie. And I've seen a lot of Taika, probably all of Taika's movies actually. And this is like just right in his humor wheelhouse. Just the like awkward, cringy type of humor that happens in there. He does so well. Like his first movie, I think it's Eagle and the Shark is what it's called. It's basically like this, like a real Napoleon Dynamite-esque humor to it, where it's just dry as hell, awkward, and I like this movie a lot. Is it like, am I like recommending this left and right? No, but when you watch it, there's plenty of bits throughout that keep you entertained and have you laughing. For me, the like, why do we drink virgin blood? Well, because it's cool. And I like to think of it because if you're gonna eat a sandwich, you'd like to know that no one fucked it first.
That
Like,
was probably the funniest.
all of those bits,
like one like single joke in the entire like movie. I think it was really.
Yeah, you're not really.
That one
expecting
is.
it.
I did laugh out loud at that part.
I love the biscotti part.
Oh yeah.
Are you enjoying your biscotti? It's worms. Ugh. Ugh. You like your dick? It's a snake.
Then is it? I think it's
Yeah.
stew later.
Don't
They're
eat
like,
the
Did
spaghetti.
they offer you any pasta? And he's like, they offered me biscotti.
I like when they're sitting there at the diner. He's just like, your French fries are worms. No, the food has to look like worms for it to happen. Oh, do they have any? Do you want any pasta?
The joke's over. I do like how they there's a lot of like recurring jokes throughout the thing. Like one of the vampires, Vladislav, the poker. He was talking about the beast as if it was just like creature that was like, powerful or whatever, and it was just like his ex-girlfriend
Yeah.
at the end, and you're like, oh my god.
I love, it's really subtle, but such a funny line is when they first have Stu at the house, and he's like, oh, you can send her a message, or you can poke her, and he just leans in and he's like,
Yeah,
yes.
do that.
Do that.
Yeah.
In that same bit, they're like looking at the Googling images or whatever. They're like, oh, we can push images and then see pictures of virgins. Like, oh yeah, and then like Vladislav says, I don't think she's a virgin if she's doing that.
Yeah, I love when he FaceTimes. He's just like, what happened? You put the wrong postage on. You were supposed to turn me into a vampire. I'm 90 now. Yeah, well, you mailed me with the wrong postage. Oh, sorry. We're breaking up. And then he just clicks the button. He's like, oh, that was close.
The best little throwaway thing I thought in the movie was, it's really small. It's when the guys are walking to the nightclub, their first nightclub, and they're just bumping into people on the street, and they bump into these two girls who they're like 14 maybe. And it's really quiet, and I think it's Vladislav's like, oh, so where are you going? You going to meet anybody? And the one girl's like, yeah, we're off to meet a couple pedophiles. And then they just walk away. I don't know why it cracked me up. Just complete throwaway by the actors.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
they're
the thing,
vampires.
too, is that because later on
Those are
you see,
vampires.
and they're the ones that you see, like the little girl standing with like the rope between her hands.
Oh, that's the same people?
Yeah, and she leans
Oh,
over and
my
like
God.
picks the guy up by the throat, and then the other girl comes in and eats her. I'm pretty sure that's the same people.
Okay.
Oh, my lord. I didn't even notice that.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense then. They're going to kill the pedophiles. Okay.
Yeah, they're vampires.
Okay.
Well, I didn't know they
didn't
were
get
vampires.
that either. Yeah.
I thought they were just
That's literally the
Aware.
whole bit. He's like, oh, there's a little vampire community here in Wellington, and then they're like, that's all those people that they're talking to, and on the way to the nightclub
I
are
see.
all vampires, because like they don't get into the clubs because they're losers, so they're like hanging out with all the other
I
vampires.
see.
Except for Stu.
It was funny when they got into the clubs and he's like, "Yeah, I'm a vampire." And they're like, "You're not supposed to be telling people that."
You know,
He's like, "Oh, I'm a vampire hunter." Oh, cool.
Twilight.
Vampire hunter.
you know Twilight.
Twilight.
I'm like Twilight. I'm like the guy in Twilight.
And he's like, "Oh, I can transform." And he's like, "Yeah, I can too." He's like, "No, you can't." "Yeah, I can." And then the other dude just like freaks out on him and transforms into some weird like bad thing. And he's like, "Don't joke about transforming. You can't do it."
I just love the fact that then they do the whole trial. Spoiler: after the vampire hunter breaks in to try to kill Peter.
Yeah,
poor,
there's this guy. He said he was a vampire hunter.
poor Peter. They do the trial,
8,000
and he's
years
like,
old.
he's just like, okay, offense number 1 is you brought a human into the house. But Stu's cool, so I guess we'll let that one slide. Offense number 2.
It is.
Offense number 2. You told everyone you were a vampire hunter, including you were a vampire, including a vampire hunter, which brings us. Well, actually, yeah, which brings us from number 1 to number 2. You got Peter killed.
It's so funny too.
And 3, you wear the same jacket as Deacon.
They have like the recurring bit of them loving Stu for some reason. Like the vampires love Stu. Like Stu.
I also love it after the trial where they shame walk him, where they just walk around and say shame, shame, shame.
I love the bit when they're at the what is it called? The like big gala at the end.
Oh, the
Unholy
masquerade.
masquerade.
Yeah, the masquerade.
Unholy
and
masquerade.
like somebody's talking to Stu, and he's like, "Oh yeah, like I work in IT. It's more like geosystems, you know, like gathering data."
He does
about
GIS,
the world,
and they're like, "He's a virgin."
Yeah, exactly. He like gets really into tech talk. They're like, "Virgin."
Even the zombie, when he's talking to him on the bench, he's like, I need to ask you a personal question. Are you predeceased? Just like this
Yeah.
world where they have all of those terms for people who aren't dead yet cracks me up.
There's just so many like goofy gags, like when they're chasing, Nick's whole character. You're like, oh yeah, this guy's total tool. Like we want him to die, and then gets turned into the vampire. It's like damn it, this guy out of all of them. But when they're chasing him around the house, and Vladislav is like the half
He's the cat.
human face bit after they're like,
He
can't
can
transform,
into animals, but he still can't get the faces right.
He always fucks up the face.
It's just his face on a cat.
Later, yeah, he's the cat with his face like on it. Oh my god.
Such a stupid bit, but it was like so funny in the moment.
I do think that's one of the. I mean, I know I mentioned it earlier, but I really do think one of the best parts about this is those things that like come back later, like all those jokes that come back like
What's
later
that?
on.
And I think the fact that like they commit to the whole bit, like I think the fact that it's like, because the show's not a mockumentary, right? The show is just like a television.
No, the
show.
show's a mockumentary. It's the same. It's
Okay,
the exact.
it
It's the exact same format. Like there's a
Okay.
documentary crew who's there to, make a mockumentary about the
Yeah,
vampires.
it's this movie in 30-minute segments.
I think the thing that it does so well is just like really commits to the bits. Like I think the camera work is really well done, and like the visual effects of like the scene where they are in the kitchen and then they like fly up, and like the fact that it keeps that all in the same shot, and like all these like on camera effects really sells the idea of it being like a documentary, like Office-esque thing.
I feel like we've talked about like all of our favorite parts in just a couple of minutes, but I still just love the entire character of Stu.
Stu's just a guy, he's just there.
When he dies, you're
Yeah.
just like, no, Stu.
Yeah, he comes back. It's fine.
But then he comes back.
I thought
As a werewolf, not a swearwolf.
I thought so. kind of mild spoiler for the show. Not really. I thought Stu was going to turn out to be an energy vampire, which is somebody in the show who is basically like this really boring person that like feeds off of people's like awkwardness, or like he'll basically bore you by talking you to death, but like be feeding off of that rather than feeding off of blood. And it's just like I love that part of the show. It's so funny. Like in the show, there's 3 vampires living in the house, and then an energy vampire named Colin Robinson, and he's just like a normal looking guy among like the 3 vampires. But oh man, it's so funny
with a name like Colin Robinson.
Yeah, no, his name is Colin Robinson, and then the other ones are like Nandor, Nadja, and Laszlo, I think, and then it's Colin Robinson. That's the 4th vampire, but he's an energy vampire. But I thought that's where they were gonna go with that, but they did not. But I think that's really funny.
You know, there's rumors of a sequel to this movie. Would you guys be interested in a movie that follows Stu and the werewolves called Werewolves?
Oh my god. Maybe. I think that for me, if I had not seen this movie before watching the show, I would have, and I heard about the show, I'd say, I think I liked the movie. I would go watch the show. You know, like I'd give the show a shot after watching this movie. Going back, like I said, I didn't enjoy it quite as much, but it was still decent. But if you enjoyed this, you really should watch the show, because I think I think the show is basically this, but like a fair amount funnier, I guess. I don't know. I like the content of that one a little better.
It's weird what you get with 10 30-minute episodes versus
1 hour.
Well, it's all, I mean, right. It's not
movie.
Right. It's not their fault. Like, it's also like obviously more well funded and like all that, you know, like
I will say it depends.
And they actually have like talent on the show that's like not diverse, but like they have different like actually like famous talent on some parts of the show.
I think it depends a bit on which one you saw first, because I've watched the first 2 seasons of the show before I saw this movie, and the first 20 to 30 minutes of this movie I watched, I was like, oh, okay, I've seen this before, because it you kind of cover the basics, like the gag where Nick eats a French fry. Well, that's an episode of the show where somebody eats a slice of pizza, and then you get that joke all over again. So I think it really depends on which one you saw. If I saw the movie first, I'd probably feel like, oh, this TV show's just a ripoff. The TV show's got a lot more content, but yet it
does cover a lot of similar themes. Like I don't want to spoil too much, but it does cover some. Yeah, definitely.
So there's good gags. I'm glad to hear. I'm glad to hear that there's good gags.
Great gags.
The gags aren't pulling. Sides. The gags aren't pulling their weight, but it's good to know. It's good to know they're good gags.
Great gags.
We're gonna hit up some ads. We're gonna come back and do some trivia. You know we love saving the turts. You know Cam hates fucking paper straws.
Paper straws suck. I will say that paper straw technology has improved since I last shat on paper straws. I have used a couple since I've been able to go out more recently due to being vaccinated. And
that's what they were doing the whole time while we were inside. They were just inventing better paper straws.
I have seen also not paper straws, but it seems like they're compostable plastic straws or something. Like
you're talking about the ones that are made out of like agave or whatever?
I have no idea what the composition of these straws are. I'm just, but they are different.
I'm not a straw expert.
But you're the expert, Dylan.
But I do know a good glass straw when I see one, you know?
Yes. I will say for being at home and where you know, maybe you like straws in your fruity margaritas, or you like straws to mix with your, you know, old fashions or whatever. You know, having these straws around the home is really nice. No, not constantly like throwing things away, or you don't have to keep buying straws all the time. Like you just buy a couple and then you're good.
And if you want cocktail picks or muddlers, they have that too. There's many colors. He's getting into like designs. So like the pride flag, he puts it on like the side of the straw. He's got hearts. He's got critters. It's like you get a piece of art along with a straw. Little multi-use.
Oh yeah, he has critter straws, which have see a dolphin, a salamander. That salamander looks intricate. That is impressive.
Grab some glass straws from Surfside Sips. Use promo code cocktails and classics spelled out for 20% off. We get a little kickback from that. And you get to save some money on some glass straws, and they should last you a long time. Dishwasher safe. They're pretty sturdy. Just don't drop them on the floor like me, like a big idiot. You have to buy more.
You're ugly, you're disgusting, I'm gonna kill you.
I hope you keep all of what Cameron just said, but like drop it like randomly in the episode. Like literally as we come back from the ad break, make it like, you're ugly, I hate you, go kill yourself.
Make a little like rap out of it.
That's an out of context
a little bit
Dr.
of a tradition
Phil
around
quote.
here. Zach takes over, puts us through a trivia quiz. Zach, what did you find for us on what we do in the shadows?
I have some spicy questions. Do you guys want to start spicy, or do you want to start with a softball?
Well, let me ask you this before we start. Can we just acknowledge that I won trivia last week and I was robbed
Listen, man,
unceremoniously?
I don't know. We have to go back and check the tape.
Well, hold on. Yeah. We gotta check the tape on that.
I'm gonna call Bob Weinstein and find out from him. Why did you guys change Ghostface from white to black?
Because
I'll get back to you in about a year and change.
Anywho.
That makes the second. I think that's the second week in a row Ben was maybe robbed out of a victory. Because the previous week was the subjective name tiebreaker, in which Ben lost that one too.
They hate me because they ate me. You know what I mean?
Well, then here we go. We'll start this off with a question that I know Ben will get correct to make up for the last 2 weeks.
Fuck, now there's no pressure.
Question number 1 for Ben.
Fuck you.
Which of the following torture devices is not seen in Vladislav's torture chamber? A. Crocodile shears. B. A lead sprinkler. Or C. A choke pear.
What the fuck?
I don't know what the fuck any of those are.
Sprinkler.
Yeah, you do.
I've never heard of any of those.
Wink, wink. I saw that wink.
That's
Ben.
not a wink. That's a.
We know
Batman
your
has all
basement.
these tools in his Batcave, so you should know it.
So does Batwoman.
He
Yes.
uses them on
Batcave.
himself, though. Well, he gets other people to use
One of
them.
them
Oh.
gets somebody else to use on him.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell any of what you just said. I'm gonna go with whatever the hell a lead sprinkler is. That'll be
Sounds
my
like something on
answer.
Urban
I don't know what
Dictionary.
that is.
What was the first one? An
I'm gonna
alligator or
Google
something?
it.
Crocodile shears.
Yes. Sorry.
Here, I'll get pictures ready in the chat. Hang on, I'm flooding my search with inappropriate torture devices. Crocodile shears, lead sprinkler, or choke pear.
A lead sprinkler is kind of what it sounds like. You put molten hot metal in one end of the device, and then in the other end is like a ball with holes in it. And so the metal comes out any of the holes onto your
Sounds like a
body.
kink.
That one wasn't a full pic. Like, what even does that do?
I think there's enough in the photo that you should understand what it does.
Yeah, I think I get what it does.
Oh, I see that. I'm on a website called medievality.com/torture.html.
I'm gonna go with the choke pear. Choke pear sounds like some sort of sexual thing, and I don't think it's for torture.
The hell is that?
I also think it's the choke pear. I think that I feel like the crocodile.
The crocodile shear's main purpose was to mutilate a man's penis. If that helps you. If that helps you at all.
Hey,
I just feel like
why
that
don't
was
you
like-
wait till after he gives his answer to start
No.
throwing shit out there?
I already gave
No,
my
I'm
own
not-
answer.
Well, I
Yeah,
know, but
and I
Dylan
said mine.
hasn't.
Yeah, I did. I said the other thing, the choke.
Ooh, I can bookmark
pear.
this page on the crocodile shears.
Oh, I've seen that before.
Yeah, that's the here. I'll give you some links.
Need links. I don't want links.
Just
I want
just
all of our
scroll.
listeners to know.
Just
I'm very
scroll up.
much. I don't.
I have an image of each in the chat. The correct answer is choke pear.
Okay.
A choke pear is a device that kind of looks like a lamp with a like a carabiner twister thing at one end, and you put it into an orifice and you twist the carabiner end, which opens the pear up like
Basically
an umbrella.
works kind of like a wine bottle opener.
Less screwing.
For the listeners,
yeah.
for the
The
listeners,
top of it is just like a wine bottle.
for the
opener,
listeners, let me explain what the picture is that we were sent. It looks like a threaded eye bolt attached to a spring, and the spring is kind of attached to 4 separate pieces of
iron.
I don't even. I guess if you were to actually take a pear and divide it into quarters,
So then, as you twist,
so
it
that
expands.
it's splayed on the fat end.
and then as you twist the eye bolt, it pushes down on the spring and forces the pear
that he has never seen before.
Object to
First
expand.
time.
I've never seen before.
Never heard of this.
And I don't think I need to see again.
Though he did instantly get the question correct.
I also got it right, so.
We're going to edit it so it sounds like you answered immediately. All right. So we got a tie between Ben and Dylan. Question
Ben's like,
number
can I find
2.
one of those on Amazon?
Yeah, because I'm going to mail it to you. So you have to open it and shamefully explain to your wife why the fuck you have whatever
2 of them.
phallic object you received.
Secret Santa.
And why you got it from your friend.
It's not phallic, it's pear-like.
Wait,
Pears aren't
that's not
phallic.
what your penis
Come
looks like?
Okay, question 2.
Oh my god. Question number 2. What is it called when a vampire hypnotizes a non-vampire? Is it A, glamoring, B, entrancing, or C, hypnotizing?
Dude.
In what context? Like, is this like in vampire lore?
In
Traditional
this,
vampire lore, like in the world
Okay.
where vampires
This
need
is
to
the-
be invited
this
in,
is like
they
the
can't cross
term.
rivers.
Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Wait, they can't cross rivers?
Nope.
No, that's why most of them are in one place
I knew
for
that-
forever.
That's why they're stuck in castles like that, man. Can't get across the drawbridge.
Except for if you ship them.
Yes, you can ship them, apparently.
The issue is that I feel like you always hear them be like, oh, they're in a trance. But then I feel like in this movie they use the word hypnot. Maybe I'm misquoting and just thinking incorrectly. What was the first one? Like glamoring?
Yep, glamoring, entrancing, or hypnotizing.
I feel like glamoring is not like the others. So it's either definitely that or that's the meme.
That's interesting, because I thought one of these was not like the other two, and it wasn't entrancing or glamoring.
I'm going to say entrancing.
Yeah, that's been my guess for the entire 30 minutes that Dylan tried to decipher what fucking clues you'd given. I'm going to just say entrancing.
I'm going to say glamoring, actually.
Any particular reason nobody chose hypnotizing?
Seems too easy.
It does seem too easy. It could be the answer, but it does seem a little too easy.
It was glamoring.
Nice.
When a vampire hypnotizes a non-vampire, it's called glamoring. Makes me wonder what it's called when they hypnotize a vampire.
I don't think
Can't.
that it works. I don't think the hypnosis works on
Well,
other
it depends.
vampires. It also doesn't work on.
It depends. If the
on,
vampire
greater
if the
beings? I don't
vampire's younger, I think the term Drake gave it was grooming.
Yeah.
Boo!
Question number 3. The very first bar we see the vampires try to get into is called what? A, Lotus, B, Nightshade, or C, Rose? They're standing there like, invite us in, invite us in. The guy outside the bar, the bouncer's just staring at them. He's like, come on, you have to invite us inside.
I'm going to say roses.
Say Nightshade.
I feel like Nightshade does fit.
I'm going to go with Lotus.
Ooh.
Somebody's winning. Who's it gonna be?
Somebody's winning. And it is finally Ben.
No.
Oh,
It
nice.
is Lotus.
Do they go to a bar
Yeah.
named Roses, though?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. I
Above the bouncer's right ear, you can see the big white sign with blue lettering called Lotus.
Well, I'm the only one who has seen it, so I guess I'll go last. But you get 3 fresh reviews from these boys, and then I'll give you a nostalgia rating and an updated one. Cam,
It had a lot of the humor that I like in the TV show, but for whatever reason, I I didn't like it quite as much. And so just maybe even just due to how the order in which I had watched things, I only mildly liked this. Like, it wasn't, I didn't love it. And so I would rate this, I think, like a 6 out of 10, somewhere in that range. Thought it was decent enough.
This was a
And so
movie I
that's
enjoyed.
where I'm
Like I
gonna rate
said,
it.
there were not a lot of parts that had me just dying of laughter, but there was something that kept me like entertained and just kind of like Zach said, kind of a chortle here or there, like a good, like that's funny, not enough to like completely laugh out loud, but enough to keep me entertained. Would I recommend this movie to everyone? No, I think you kind of have to have a specific sense of humor to enjoy it. That's a specific sense of humor. No,
Yeah, some
because
people
not
have a bad
everyone's
sense
sense
of
of humor
humor.
is the same. Yeah, like Zach. I enjoyed this movie. Was it like a cinematic masterpiece or some sort of like tour de force? No. Did I think it was overly spectacular? No, but I enjoyed it. I think it's funny. I definitely think it's kind of cool to watch something that comes from a different country and see how their humor is.
Did you give a
different
number?
I said 6.
Okay, all right.
How many fucking times? 6, 6, 6, 6.
Say it again.
6.
Hey, that's the
six,
narc of the
six,
beast.
six,
Don't
six,
stop.
six, six,
No.
six, six, six.
No.
I'm a vessel. 6, 6, 6, 6, 6.
Wow, we're gonna give this sixes for wildly different reasons. Thought the movie was good. Sometimes it's just a bit much. Like there's scenes that you don't need. I wish we would have had other stuff, like when they're just kind of goofing around playing the. Are they trying to be like a mariachi band? There's like a trumpet and a trombone, and they're just kind of goofing around. It's fun stuff, but it's stuff like that I mean, stops me from giving it like an 8. Will I watch it again? Do I think you should watch it? Yeah, I do. It's funny. If you liked the documentary style at all, definitely watch it. It's a great twist. You know, the idea that we have vampires that are gonna discover the internet now is pretty hilarious.
Going in,
And if you like this, definitely watch the TV show.
Probably had it like a 6. I do enjoy this film a lot. I love all the actors, and I love Jermaine and Taika. Their humor is on point. I love the committal to the mockumentary element. I think that sells any movie that tries to go for. I think some of the camera work and the visual effects really sell it for you. Which some of those are crazy, like the blood spurting out like a freaking geyser. Some of the like transformations between like the werewolves and the vampires and stuff is pretty. Be very interested to see like a behind the scenes of like how they try to do that on camera and stuff. Because you have to do it like semi live in a sense, you know, if it's like a doc. I think the comedy for me, it fits kind of in that style of what I like to watch. I really like those like a little raunchy here and there when they want to be type comedies. And I was really hard pressed to try and decide between a 7 and an 8 for this one, and I think I'm gonna settle with a 7. It's good. I'd recommend it if you like that style of like movie, like that mockumentary, dry comedy. If you're kind of into horror, because it does get kind of bloody at parts. The camera work, obviously, some people hate like shaky. Tune in next week as we do Hocus Pocus. And if you enjoyed this, don't forget to rate and subscribe. Check us out on Instagram at Cocktails and Classics Pod. Make yourself a tequila sunrise. Check the show notes for that recipe and hit the Drizzly and Casker links to get that tequila directly at your door. Buy some Surfside sips. Share us with your friends and family. Give us a rating, review. That really helps us out. And as always, watch responsibly.